Welcome to the Ambitious Coach Podcast. This is a place where driven, determined coaches learn how to get off the business growth struggle bus and learn how to build a wildly profitable online coaching business. I'm your host, Allison Henderson, corporate dropout to six-figure social media business coach. I'm going to show you how I've been able to create the business of my dreams organically, all through utilizing my social media platforms. So pull up a seat, take some notes, and get ready to see your life and bank account transform. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ambitious Coach Podcast. Today, I'm sharing how I come up with content ideas literally every day without relying on AI, content calendars, or scrolling for inspiration on social media. One of the biggest challenges that I hear from some of my new clients is that they just don't know what to write about and they just don't have enough good content ideas. Something that is so important for you to remember is that you are a business owner, and with that comes sales and marketing. All right. You have to market yourself and sell your offers. You guys all know this, but social media is free. I want you to use it. Social media can get you in front of thousands of people for free. So I want you to use it. Okay. Create content. The people that you want to join your programs are literally on the internet right now. Don't underestimate the power of your content bringing you in leads. That is the sole reason why you are marketing, right? Marketing's only job is to be bringing you in leads and bringing you in clients. That is it. So it's important, especially if you don't have a full roster of clients right now, to be actively creating content and talking to real people, okay? So I wanted to dedicate one of my episodes to how to create endless content ideas for yourself so that you can stop worrying about what to post. That anxiety of when you wake up in the morning about, oh my God, what should I post today? I want that to stop. I want that to go away. There should be no reason you're waking up every day wondering what to create. And let me acknowledge that, ChatGPT, AI, is awesome, okay? It is great for giving you some basic ideas, helping you brainstorm. I get that. It's not that I don't want you to use that, but it is also really important for me to know that, I don't want it to create content for you because I want you using your voice. What if you had content that literally came from your mouth and your ideal client's mouth? And that's really important to note here. I want these ideas coming from your clients. So in this episode, I'm going to give you 5 ways for you to come up with endless ideas so that you can wake up with a plan and have less anxiety about what to post every day. All right? All right, so let's get into number 1. Number 1, use your client sessions or client calls for absolute content gold, okay? If you just got off a sales call or even a client call, great. What did they talk about? What questions did they have? What were their concerns? What were their struggles? What did they desire? And you might have intake forms or things they fill out before they start working with you. Great. Use those. Use those. Go back through. What are questions they have? What were their struggles? And I'm not sure if you do take notes on your sales calls or your client calls, but you might want to start trying, or you might want to start now if you don't. Write down real things that are happening in their life, their exact words. If you have voice and text support, look at their questions that they asked. I use Voxer for my clients. Sometimes I just scroll through and go, what questions have my clients asked me this week? How did you answer them? So just look back through old conversations. This could be even DM conversations. You can screenshot what you said. You obviously black out people's names and stuff like that, but screenshot things that you said back to them. If you did voice memos, just think, what were some things that you said? And you can write that down in a text, okay? Give your audience a real response that you used with one of your clients. This positions you as the expert, but also shows that level of support that you do give to your paying clients. You're already saying really great things and smart things on your Zoom calls. Duh, right? You're a great coach. Bring them into your Instagram feed and into your stories, okay? Show us how great you are at being a really good coach. So for example, if one of your clients was struggling with keeping their toddler in their bed overnight, how did you reply when she said, hey, we are so tired, we decided to let him sleep in our bed last night? What was your response? Or maybe your client messaged you and said, my baby isn't latching. I'm thinking about formula feeding so I can get her nutrition. What did you say? What was that pep talk you gave her? What would you say if that was a question too? This could be a content idea for you, all right? All right, so let's go into number 2. Have an opinion. Disagree with somebody's post without being a meanie head or a troll, okay? So what I mean by this is I don't want you bashing other people's content, but maybe somebody said something in a post that you just really didn't agree with, and you want to share how you would do things differently without actually calling people out. By the way, I really want to make sure, like, you can screenshot things if you want to, but like, I really want you treading lightly here. We don't want to be starting drama or fights on the internet, right? But they might have said something, like you can put it in quotes and say, hey, I'm sharing my perspective on this, or my hot take, or maybe it's an unpopular opinion. It's okay to disagree with people on the internet, but please just do it in a tasteful way. Just remember, like, there are real people on the internet that have real feelings, okay? But here's an example. Like, maybe you saw somebody say, I saw a business coach post that you should be posting 3 times a day for audience growth. Well, that's just not my jam. So here's why. So I'd probably say something like that. I'm not going to screenshot her post and say, oh, she said to do this 3 times a day and take out ads or whatever. It's like, even though that's just not what I teach, I'm not going to be calling somebody very specific out. But this builds leadership without that drama and feeling really unethical for calling them out, okay? There's so many coaches that are saying very similar things to what you're saying, or they're saying things that you disagree with. They're likely not going to catch on. They're probably not even following you. So it's okay to disagree. It's okay to disagree and talk about that. All right, I think it's number 3. All right, number 3. Talk about your lived experiences or just life lessons. Like, your personal story is so important. A lot of you are a replica of your ideal client. Like, you've walked in their shoes. Like, you actually get what they're going through right now. Like, you've been in the trenches and you get it. But you probably have healed from that, or have already solved the problem. You've already fixed this aspect of your life. And I want you to share how you were able to do that with your audience, okay? Now, sharing your story might feel a little vulnerable or might feel a little hard, but it's so important that people do get a chance to know you, okay? Share things that are actually still happening in your life, and how do you manage them daily? So, for example, if maybe you're like more of like a mindset or mental health coach, you can talk about how, hey, you might still have depression, and this is how you overcome it. Or maybe you're a parenting coach and your kid still throws tantrums every single day after school. How do you manage them? So it's not always about looking perfect and that you have everything right. But it's important that you share these life lessons around, it could be parenting, travel, fitness, your old job, money mindset, debt, sleep, your marriage. Like, there's all these things that we experience every single day. And by the way, it doesn't always have to be related back to your industry. Like, I still share things like on my stories that aren't necessarily related to business coaching. However, keep in mind, share from a scar, not an opened wound, okay? What I mean by that is, don't air out your dirty laundry if you haven't really healed yet, or if you're actually going through something like a real problem for yourself. Like, I wouldn't be coming on social media crying about it, okay? It's more like, what would my past self have needed to hear in this exact moment? What's something you wish you heard when you were going through that hard time in your life? Your past holds so much wisdom, and guess who wants to hear it? Your audience, your community, okay? You being where they have gone, or you being where they have been, helps them see themselves in your story, all right? And that's really important, and that does make a deep connection with your audience. All right, number 4. Look at your actual offer and break it up. So what I mean by this is, go inside your own course or maybe one-on-one program, okay? What do you teach? Pick maybe one of your modules, or what's a big lesson that you start with in your program, or what's the last lesson that you talk about? Pick a theme. I don't know what it is, but break it down, okay? So for example, it could be, in week 3 of my program, we focus on sales mindset. Let me walk you through the belief that I teach called blank, okay? I'm going to say blank a lot because I know all of you guys have different industries. You're all going to be in different things. So another one could be like, in my program, I teach a method called blank. This method helps you with XYZ so that you can do blank, okay? Or something like that. So I'm going to say that again. In my program, I teach you a method called blank. This method helps you with XYZ so that you can blank, okay? So I guess an example, I guess I'll just give you one. In my program, I teach a method called the chair method. This method helps your baby feel connected to you so that you don't have to leave them alone to fall asleep. Simple as that, right? So break that down a little bit. What do you do with the chair method? Why does this work for families? Why does this make moms or dads feel good about your methodology? I'm sure all of you have like 5 or 6 things that you can fully go into more detail on. So open up a Google Sheets. And if you don't already have this for your program, this is actually really helpful for you. Open a Google Sheets and start writing out each of them and really just break them down further and further. You're going to end up having so much content ideas. For me, I can start with content. This is like one of the biggest things I talk about, right? So inside of content, I can break it down into headlines and hooks, right? Understanding like the headline is really important. I can talk about copywriting techniques. I can talk about call to actions. I can talk about creative in Canva. I can talk about content for very specific pieces of your audience, like cold, warm, and hot leads. I can talk about the different types of buyers. I can talk about how to sell in your stories, how to go live, how to have more confidence talking in your reels. Guys, the list goes on and on, right? Like, but that's just like one piece, content. I have a whole module just on content creation. And if I broke down all the things that I talked about when it comes to content, it's going to be a lot. So the list can go on and on. So I really want you doing this for yourself. And also, I know a lot of you guys are like parenting coaches, lactation consultants, sleep consultants, life coaches. Really think about your program. Like, what are all of the things that you know you can help your ideal clients with that are a part of the program? Like, you don't necessarily need to be talking about anything else but that, just so you know. I really do want to make sure that your content is so organized in a way. Not necessarily that you need to be organized of like, oh, I have like months planned out by any means, but just knowing that like it's related to your program and that you're not getting off topic. Okay. All right, let's talk about number 5. This is my last one here. I want you sharing your random ass shower thoughts. Don't ignore those random, I call them like bursts of insight sometimes. And these might just be things that you know your audience needs to hear today, or you wish that maybe they heard today. What's that thing that maybe you muttered to your husband while you were folding laundry? That could be a caption. What's that text that you sent to your sister when you were really like mad at your mom for giving you parenting advice? Okay. We want to hear all of the things, babe. All right. So keep a notes app. This is one of my favorite things that I do. I just have a notes app that just says content ideas or like random ass thoughts. And every little thing that comes into my brain, I just think it's like a little seed. It could be something bigger or absolutely nothing, but it's at least all organized somewhere. So when I had those moments of what do I create today? What can I post? You could just go back through your content ideas or these random thoughts that you have, and you can just create content based off of those. Sometimes I'm actually in the shower, guys. This has happened where I ask, I'm just going to say the letters SIRI because I don't want to activate anybody's SIRI if you have an iPhone. But yeah, I sometimes just say that out loud while I'm in the shower and I say, can you please put this in my notes app? And it does. Okay. So I challenge you to post some of these that you have maybe already in there, but I want you to start really accessing that part of your brain and get it somewhere fast. Also, this is something that I thought about too, is just having a notepad next to your nightstand. You can also have random pieces of paper or Post-it notes in your kitchen or wherever it is that you kind of hang out. Because sometimes I don't have my phone with me. So especially right before bedtime, like I typically put my phone on airplane mode. I hate having my phone buzz or make any sort of noises while I'm sleeping. And I don't want to have Wi-Fi going on the whole night. So I just have a piece of paper next to my nightstand. And so sometimes I'll be going right before I go to bed, I'll be like, oh, that's a really good content idea. I'll just be thinking about work stuff, right? So I put that just next to my bed and write out some content. Also, this is something that I teach this inside of my program, but like talking about your zone of genius hours when it comes to when to create content. These are those hours where your brain is like amazing and you're just like on fire and, you just feel good. But those are like when the content ideas are actually flowing. And I'm sure you guys all have these like parts of your day. So for me, it's like usually after a couple cups of coffee. So like 10 a.m. And I personally don't like working before 10 a.m. Unless I have to. Like today I had a presentation with some people out of the UK. So like they could only do later in the afternoon. So of course, guess what? Allison had to wake up early and do 8 a.m. It was totally fine. But when it comes to like really sitting and being creative and having content done and all that sort of stuff in Canva, like I'm not necessarily going to be doing that at 6 a.m. unless I like had to, because that's maybe the only time that you have to work. But some of you guys love waking up early. You guys love that. So it's like, okay, let me get up early and just get all of my crap done for the day. Also, I encourage you to scroll in your own DMs, emails, client notes, and just program content for these ideas. I use scripts, DM convos, client convos, questions that I get on calls regularly as my content, okay? I also tap into my own life as ideas of things to post. Remember, people still need to know you on that personal level. It's totally fine to share your own experiences and life in order to allow your audience to get to know you. Spend about 10 minutes, and this could be like on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, just preparing for the week. Think less about how can I create content that sells and making sure everything is so perfect. And let's shift this into think more about how can I create content that is relatable to my offers, actually solves real problems for my ideal clients, and helps me stop overthinking everything. You'll end up having endless content ideas, and you're just going to feel so much more prepared and natural. So stop overthinking everything. I think everybody needs to hear that right now. Stop overthinking everything. You already have a lot of ideas likely right now in your cute little brain. So get them on paper, get them in a document. I don't care, like a Google Sheets. Grab a cup of coffee and just, open up your computer and start getting to work. Like, this content isn't going to write itself, unfortunately. And I actually don't recommend social media managers and that sort of stuff. I really want your content coming from you, because guess what? We're buying people because of their ideas, their thoughts, their methodologies, their mission, right? And a lot of times when we hire social media managers, guess what happens? All of your content just starts sounding like the industry. It just sounds like everybody else. It sounds just like ChatGPT. Realistically, that's what they're doing. So sit down, write your own content, think of your own ideas. And if this is something like you really struggle with and you want help creating content, this is a lot of what I help my clients with inside one-on-one coaching, okay? If you'd like to learn more about what it's like to work with me, click the link in my show notes to check out my sales page. All right, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Ambitious Coach podcast today. A couple favors before you go. If you found this episode helpful, please take a screenshot and share it on Instagram. Most importantly, don't forget to tag me at AllisonHenderson_coach. That's ALLISON Henderson_coach. And lastly, please take a minute to rate this episode and leave a raving review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in to listen. Okay, ambition is great, but it's time to get to work. Take action and commit to being 1% better every day. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again next week.